A floor that explodes without warning. A woman who stops thieves from stealing her car. A dog that runs a golf cart into its owner's truck. Or a child who faces the void at a height of 8 stories without security. Sit back and enjoy the incredible footage that was captured by security cameras. The security camera of a deck warehouse store in Ostrava in the Czech Republic accidentally recorded a mind-boggling scene. It shows a robber, most likely accompanied, in a red car. The thief had decided to rob the warehouse that day and to take as many goods as possible in his Renault to sell. Except that he had obviously not prepared well his blow because he was very quickly trapped. On the images, we see him making a calm entry in the parking lot and parking near a white van. A few minutes later, the robber gets down and starts to attack the employees who were in this van. This first misstep brought him to the attention of the rest of the employees, who all ran to see what was going on and why there was so much noise. Taking fright, the robber gets back on board his vehicle and tries this time to flee without loot. Except that near the exit was an employee who was at the controls of his forklift. The employee blocked the exit. The thief then tried to back up and change direction, but in the meantime, the other employees had also gotten on their forklifts. All of them regrouped and surrounded the robber, making any attempt to escape sterile. A real-time effort. The robber was thus trapped in his own trap. That will teach him to plan his moves better next time. When buying a villa, a man with a beautiful dog, a nice car and a golf cart decided to install a security camera to make sure that no evil would come near his most precious possession. But when he saw what the security camera recorded on the famous September the 10th, 2021, he realized that evil could sometimes come from inside when you don't expect it. On these images, the dog who normally had to be the guard and make sure that nobody approaches the cars had a little slack, a little moment of boredom. It happens to everyone, so he thought he'd go for a little ride in a golf cart. But when he got on the golf cart, he unintentionally hit the accelerator pedal. As a result, the golf cart started up and spun around and then crashed. Where? Well, on our owner's car, of course. Both cars ended up damaged. It's sure that the owner won't be able to use his car, nor to play golf, and as he will certainly get rid of the dog too, he won't have anything to keep. On these images filmed by the security camera of a house in California, a delivery man was delivering a package as usual, but arrived near the house. While he was about to deposit the parcel at the bottom of the door, a bee came to tease him. Very embarrassed by the insect, the delivery man then starts to chase it with his arms. Then the package he was holding in his hands accidentally slipped and was ejected towards the roof of the house. Realizing his stupidity at the time, the delivery man started to look for a solution, but seeing that it was very complicated to access the roof of the house by himself, he had no choice but to send a message to the owner asking for a ladder. Very ashamed and confused, the delivery man didn't know where to put himself when he asked for this. He was very afraid for his image and the image of the company he worked for. Fortunately for him, he had come across a very nice owner who reassured him by text message that he would take care of it himself. The delivery man learned his lesson. Next time, he'll let himself be stung by the bee rather than suffer such shame. This biker, living in a peaceful neighborhood and a priori monitored by security cameras, woke up this morning with a firm intention to annoy people and cause them problems for free. So he simply had the idea to straddle his scooter to go back and forth in the alleys while passing very closely to parked cars at a high speed to kick their mirrors. Except that day he had the bad luck to cross the road of a driver who was probably in a bad mood. The latter, having caught him in the act, started to pursue him in his car, determined to put an end to this carnage. After a short pursuit of a few minutes, the motorcyclist was finally arrested. The driver rammed him into another car to force him to surrender, a good lesson that will teach him to stay away from people's cars in the future. In this company lobby, after a long day at the office, a man was about to leave his work, accompanied by a group of colleagues. To leave, he had to go through the revolving door, But that day our friend was in too much of a hurry to get back to his cozy bed, and since at the same time another man from outside wanted to get in, he also went through the revolving door, entering from the opposite direction. So the one who was in a hurry pushed on the door to make it roll faster, and the other one wanted to get in but went the opposite way. The result, the revolving door broke and crumbled into thousands of small pieces and shards of glass. The explosion caught our friend unawares and he was trapped between two pans of glass in the door. He certainly received shards of glass in his eyes and face. In the end, he will spend the weekend in bed as he planned, except it will be on a hospital bed with bandages all over his face and hands. In a building in Mias, West Siberia, the parents of an almost 2-year-old child were sitting quietly at home while their child was napping in his room. The father decided to take a nap to recover from his sleepless night, while the mother went into the kitchen to prepare dinner. And not to make noise, she closed the kitchen door, leaving the living room window wide open. Big mistake. That day, even if their night was sleepless, their day was even more nightmarish. Because when the child in question woke up from his nap, he noticed that the living room window was open. While the parents were busy thinking that their baby was asleep, this curious and, it must be said, very brave little one walked to the edge of the window, stuck his head out, and then leaned out. And since he wanted to see what was going on 8 floors below, he decided to go out in full. The little one stayed for long minutes, hanging on the window, trying to play and look at what was down there. At times, he would even let go of the window and get his hands free. When she saw him, the mother, horrified by what she saw in front of her, tried to gather all the strength in the world not to scream and not to frighten the little one, who could then have fallen into the void. The poor mother unfortunately lived the worst day of her life, seeing such a scene unfold before her eyes. Even if her baby miraculously escaped, she would never forget this waking nightmare. In Wisconsin, a state in the Midwest of the United States, a young woman who was in her car decided to stop at a gas station to fill up. While she was busy putting gas in her car, a black car pulled up next to hers, almost blocking her path, and a man came out. He then decided to take advantage of the fact that the young woman was on the other side of the vehicle to get in, start the car, and drive away. Fortunately, the woman realized it soon enough, and even more incredibly, she had the impressive reflex to jump on the hood and hold on tight. The thief tried to get away, thinking that this would deter the woman and make her give up. But no, she was determined to not leave her vehicle. She was ready to hold on to it with her teeth if necessary. And finally, it is that which is going to save it, because by seeing that his victim was rather tough, the thief let go. He left the car, leaving it in operation, and joined his vehicle to take the escape. The white car finished its race but was finally stopped by the young woman. This one got in and controlled it while it was still running, a scene worthy of a real thriller. She must have had the fright of her life, but sometimes the excess of adrenaline pushes us to act without thinking, especially in such extreme situations. She will at least learn to lock her car door next time. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in the streets of Kiev. You are walking and lovingly discovering the beautiful streets of the Ukrainian capital. You are so amazed that you want to go through every corner of the city. You are then attracted by a small and quiet street. Its beauty calls you and you decide to enter it. But now that you have advanced a few meters, you feel the ground vibrate under your feet. You think that it must surely be a big truck passing by, or that the railroad is not very far. In any case, a city this big is never very quiet. And no, you were wrong. You were right where the ground burst on May the 29th, 2017. The ground rose up before your eyes and then exploded, giving way to tons of gallons of mud, which flooded the street in no time. The images taken by the security camera of the street are impressive, but it was neither an earthquake nor a bomb. The violence of the explosion that hit the streets is due to, in reality, to a pipe, a little rusty and old of 37 years, which was the cause of this deflagration and which did not support the pressure. In just a few seconds, the whole street was transformed. The ground gave way, the sidewalk was shattered, and a huge cloud of smoke spread throughout the neighborhood. Worse still, a torrent of mud covered the whole street, and you with it, of course. You then see disconcerted and powerless, the cars being carried away by the mud flows, and you also see a gigantic hole of more than 6 meters in diameter forming in the place of the parking lot. You are afraid because you don't know if other explosions will follow, and you are terrified that the ground will swallow you. You quickly go back to the hotel and decide to take the first plane, but you are still very relieved not to have been injured, since the consequences could have been more serious. In Walnut Creek Safeway, California, 2 women went to a supermarket together, not to shop, but for a completely different purpose: to rob someone. Once in the supermarket, they chose to target a little granny, shopping cart in hand, who is bent over the frozen food aisle, choosing her products, the perfect victim. While one of the women was watching her sidekick from afar and pretending to pick products from a perpendicular aisle, the second thief approached the granny from behind. She first tried to target the wallet. Once she found it, she reached into the granny's purse and discreetly stole it, without qualms or conscience. She may have taken her loot, but she didn't notice that she had been recorded by the store's security cameras that were pointed at them. Surely by now both of them must be in the same cell, and they are cursing the day they thought of committing this crime. So, what do you think of these incredible sequences? Tell us in the comments which one impressed you the most. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything from our upcoming content.